Hi guys, Olive here today to tell you about my most anticipated new releases that are all due to come out in the first quarter of 2021. Now that I'm a freelance book reviewer, I have my eye on new releases in a way that I never really have before, and there are so many amazing books coming out in the first 3 months of 2021. I'm assuming that's especially the case because a bunch of 2020 releases got pushed forward because of the situation with the pandemic. I am interested in a lot of the books that are coming out in the first quarter of the new year, but I've decided to tell you about only 15 of them, which still sounds like a lot, but I wasn't able to cut down the list any more than that. I'm far too excited about all of these books. I suppose it's appropriate that this list is 2/3 nonfiction to 1/3 fiction, because that's nearly exactly what my reading has been looking like these days. I'll be speaking about these books in the order of their release date, starting with the soonest, and then working my way up to the books that come out at the end of the quarter. So first up is a nonfiction pick, Featherhood by Charlie Gilmore, which is due to be out on January 5th. This is the memoir of a man who rescued an orphaned magpie chick and then raised it as he was dealing with the fact that his estranged father was dying. Of course, this is a bird book, so it's directly up my alley, but I'm also particularly looking forward to this one because I have previously read and loved another book about an orphaned magpie called Penguin the Magpie. The next book is a novel that's due to come out on January 19th. It's called The Divines by Ellie Eaton. This book is about a group of girls at a boarding school in the 90s and some sort of mystery that caused that boarding school to shut down. Years later, one of those girls returns to this school, which I'm sure conjures up some memories. I love stories set at boarding schools. I'm actually really hoping that there are some good dark academia vibes to this one. Next up are two more works of fiction, both set to be released on January 26th. The first is a romance, The X-Talk by Rachel Lynn Solomon, which is all about two public radio show hosts who hate each other, but who are forced to co-host a show all about exes confronting one another. And also written in Starlight by Isabel Ibanez, which is a YA novel and the sequel to Woven in Moonlight, a book that I loved and reviewed here on my channel in early 2020. This book, of course, continues the story, which is actually inspired by Bolivian history and politics, and the author of this book is the one who designed not only this cover, but the cover of the previous book as well. Gorgeous. But moving back to nonfiction, Think Again, The Power of Knowing What You Don't Know by Adam Grant is due to come out very appropriately on February 2nd. Groundhog Day. This book is by the author of Originals, which is a book that I read and really enjoyed a couple of years ago. This new book is all about rethinking things, and how to go about reevaluating old notions so that you don't get caught in mental ruts. Obviously a really good one for the new year. February 9th seems to be a pretty big day for new releases because there are 3 nonfiction books that I am really excited about that are all coming out on that day. The first is Under a White Sky, The Nature of the Future by Elizabeth Colbert, who is the author of The Sixth Extinction. In this book, she looks at the work that scientists are doing largely behind the scenes in order to combat climate change. The second February 9th release that I would like to mention is Between Two Kingdoms, a memoir of a life interrupted by Suleika Jawad. This is the story of a young woman who battled cancer in her early 20s. But after she finally beat cancer, she decided that she needed to detach from the singular focus on surviving. She wanted to learn how to actually live again. And that's a challenge she took on in the form of a 100-day road trip across the United States. And the third and final February 9th release that I would like to highlight is Crossing the Line, A Fearless Team of Brothers and the Sport That Changed Their Lives Forever by Kareem Rosser. This is the story of 2 brothers in Philadelphia who got horseback riding lessons in exchange for cleaning the stables, and they both went into polo, which is a very privileged sport. In case you don't know this, I cover sports books for the Christian Science Monitor, so I'm especially interested in this one. Next up are 2 books that are both due to come out on February 23rd. The first is The Flight of the Diamond Smugglers, A Tale of Pigeons, Obsession, and Greed along coastal South Africa by Matthew Gavin Frank. This is a look inside the diamond smuggling trade, which apparently includes people attaching diamonds to the feet of trained pigeons in order to get the valuable gems out of mines. And the second February 23rd release is Winter Pasture, One Woman's Journey with China's Kazakh Herders by Li Zhuan. This book has been a bestseller in China for a long time. It's just now being translated into English. It's the memoir of a 30-something-year-old woman who spent an entire winter with a Kazakh herding family. Memoir mixed with nature writing. Might be my favorite style of book, just period, so I'm definitely really excited about this one. And now on to the March books. On March 2nd, The Northern Reach by W.S. Winslow is due to be released. Out of all of the books I've talked about today, this is actually the only physical ARC I have. I've been mainly sticking to digital ARCs. This is a novel that tells the stories of multiple different generations of 4 different families living on the coast of the state of Maine here in the United States. Then there are 2 books that are due to come out on March 9th and 1 due to come out on March 10th, and I'll group those together since their release dates are so close. First, there's Life's Edge, What It Means to Be Alive by Carl Zimmer. This is by the author of She Has Her Mother's Laugh, which is a book on heredity that I read and reviewed here on my channel a couple of years ago. This is the science writer's new book, all about where exactly life begins and what different experiments have been done to determine that. The other March 9th book that I wanted to bring to your attention is actually the last novel on this list. It's The Seed Keeper by Diane Wilson. This book follows a woman with Native American ancestry. Her father disappeared when she was young and she was put into foster care. Years later, as a widow and as a mother, she returns back to her childhood home in order to confront the past and to search for a sense of identity and community that she lost after her father disappeared. And the book that comes out on March 10th is In Search of Mycotopia, Citizen Science, Fungi Fanatics, and the Untapped Potential of Mushrooms by Doug Bierend. From what I've gathered about this book, it does seem like it has a lot of science about mushrooms, but also that it contains a lot of information about the culture surrounding mushrooms. And then finally, the last book I wanted to tell you about in today's video comes out on March 30th. It's called A Most Remarkable Creature, The Hidden Life and Epic Journey of the World's Smartest Birds of Prey by Jonathan Meiberg. This is a book all about the striated caracara, which is a very rare, very intelligent bird species native to South America. They kind of look like crows, and Darwin actually met some of them when he was in the Falkland Islands. It astonished him just how tame these birds were. This book tells the history of that hyper-intelligent species of bird. I am a huge bird nerd. I love birds. You'll know this if you've been around this channel for a while, so it definitely makes me really excited that I get to close out this list with this book. It's definitely one of the ones on this list that I am the most excited about. So those are 15 books that I have my eye on in the first quarter of 2021. I would love to know which of these books are of the greatest interest to you. I'm considering reviewing any or even potentially all of these in 2021, so I would really like to know which ones specifically you would like to see reviews of. Also, please do let me know if there are any 2021 releases that you are really excited about, especially if you think they should be on my radar as well. You can put any or all of that, as well as any other general comments or questions you may have, in the comment section below. But if you would like to connect with me somewhere other than YouTube, I am on a variety of different places on social media, and the links to all of my profiles will be in the description box below. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you're having a wonderful day. I'll see you in the next video. Bye.